Good afternoon.
And good afternoon to you as well.
Good afternoon, Ben. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Damn it. Hang on. We had it. Entertain yourselves for 1 minute.
Okay. Well, here I am. I'm Luke Beeman here, Back to Basics. I don't know if we're recording or not. I'm recording.
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Luke?
Great afternoon to you, buddy.
It's just been a great day so far.
Is it raining by you again?
It was a little bit this morning. I still went for a walk with no rain jacket because sometimes you just got to get out there. And
Wow. What about you went out there with unprotected skin? What did you do when you started to get moist and stuff?
got wet, bro.
Yeah, all right. No doubt. It's raining here. I feel like it rains every time we record.
Yeah, last time was pretty epic.
Yeah, it was.
It was crazy up there too, and I think where Brownie was.
We were one thunder strike away from losing the Brownie episode.
It was by the edge of our whatever.
If people only knew how intense and dramatic, there's like the submarine movie, The Perfect Storm. You think about like how intense that was. In the future, it's going to be like the documentary behind Back to the Basics, us frantically trying to record on Zoom and like
Did you
it's
hear
raining outside.
Back to the Basics.
Back to the Basics.
That's our.
Behind the story of Back to Basics.
That's just so good. I'm very down. Well, yeah, we handled it like true professional bass players, where everything's going to shit around us, and we're just like, we got this. It's cool.
Just keeping it steady, plugging along.
Got the vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, last week was really cool. It was nice to have Mark as our first guest, and then I did his. He hosted a bunch of the artists that are doing the lessons on Tuesday on a group call just to talk about stuff, and
cool.
He was in the same place, recording from the same area, and talking about some of the same things. He brought up Phrygian again, which he just loves that. We're gonna have to.
Man loves Phrygian.
We're gonna have to get him a mini fridge for his bus and call it the Phrygian.
A mini Phrygian.
Yeah. But yeah, this week we got Tuck. So when did you first come across that guy? And
yeah. Well, yeah. So I came across Tuck. Whew. I met Tucker. I met Tucker when Le Special played a run of shows with Cycles out in Colorado. And this must have been like 2 years ago probably at this point. And it was awesome. Like we played like Cody's Half Note together. We did Cervantes, Other Side, which was sold out, which was like their headlining. I'm not sure if it was an EP release show, but it was their like hometown show. Sold out. It was really fun. We collaborated on some Primus. We did like a double bass, Shake Hands with Beef. Rory was singing. And then after that, we brought them over to the East Coast, and they supported us for a run of shows. And we played in Boston, Brighton Music Hall, 420 Spectacular, which was really fun. Me and Beeman's fake British band, The Flat, opened up the show.
Oh, yeah, that's not a fake band at all. That's just ahead of its time by a long shot. So
you're right. It might be the most real thing I've ever been a part of, to be honest.
I think that is, besides this here podcast with our Tucker McClung, who is getting his audio unmuted on the bottom left of his screen. There's an arrow next to the microphone.
We want to hear this boy.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, dude.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Tuck? My man.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
He's got a good hat for today. We asked Tucker to wear a hat, and he's brought his A game.
Dude, I brought a few.
Yes.
I got my freshie on.
Oh, okay. Wow, I only brought one, but I just got out of the shower, so I can give you guys some fucked up hair if you want. I don't care.
All right, this one's gonna be Blockbuster here. Oh, that's good, Luke. That's nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just keep it. If I just don't move, I think I could rock this.
Yeah.
There you go. I think you do what you do. Hey, let's go to gallery view in the top right, Tucker, and what's your name, Luke?
Yeah, I'm Luke Beeman. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can all see each other's beautiful visage.
Yeah. Let's
That's
get the
cool.
hat game really flaunted here.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've used this. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Is this your first pandemic quarantine? Because like this has been all over the place.
Yeah, this is my first pandemic quarantine.
Right.
And first time using Zoom, but it's so great to see you guys.
Yeah.
Great to see you too, bud.
Yeah.
Are you guys in gallery view? Are you guys cool? You can see everyone?
Oh, yeah.
All right, my boys. Tuck, thanks for being on, bud. You're our second official guest.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've been a busy boy with the streams and everything. I was watching some of you guys stream last night. Are you doing that as like a weekly thing or kind of more sporadic whenever you have time, or what's the deal with that?
I think we're gonna do one like in a week or two.
Yeah.
We're trying to just kind of get together at least once a week, something once a week, but we'll probably try and put out a stream like every 2 weeks.
Cool. Yeah, it was awesome last night. I was really enjoying it, man. So is this your guys' new drummer now that's playing with you?
It is, yeah. Luke Stone. He's been
Great
in
name.
Denver for a while, but yeah, he's awesome.
He sounds great. He complements your guys' style. I was loving just like some of the improv grooves, or it was like you laying down that thick tuck slap bass part, and he's going ham on the drums. And you got Pat now rocking like the analog sampler with some vocal samples and stuff like that. That's kind of a new
Yeah,
thing for you guys?
he's been doing pretty heavy MPC work. Like, well, just even right before the show, we'll just kind of think of a funny movie quote and put it on.
Cool.
And he'll just go nuts with it.
Yeah, it's funny because Greg always writes a movie quote on Gator's set list every time.
Really?
Oh.
If we play a show together, we should see what quotes you use and use that for the set list.
Yes. Wow. Wait, Ben, can you give us an example of some quotes that
I know literally zero movie quotes aside from why don't we build her a cake or something?
Well, what is that even from?
Didn't you bake a Napoleon Dynamite?
When Pedro is saying, well, if you're trying to woo this woman, you just build her a cake or something.
Oh, true, yeah. The wisdom of Pedro. I shouldn't have forgotten that. I'm sorry.
First time we saw that movie in theaters was with my dad and brothers, and my dad literally, I guess it was building up to that moment, and whoa, hey, bud. You just built her a cake or something? That was cool.
Oh, Tuck. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Tuck, this is a family show, my friend, so you have to keep that away.
Yeah, sorry. I brought these just in case.
Oh, yo, that's fantastic. What's your favorite dinosaur, Tuck?
Is this the Stegosaurus?
Yeah, it looks like a steg. Yeah. I'd say so.
Probably be the Stegosaurus.
Bring that back out real quick.
The Stegosaurus was a fierce warrior, one that could really stand up to the T-Rex. You guys know that, right?
Is this really a family-friendly show?
Yep.
Should I not?
It's fine. Express yourself however you want. I have one of these, guys.
How else do you make families other than tiny plastic dicks? That's how I was taught.
Oh, Tuck, switching it up early, man. Wow.
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, just kind of doing what you got to do.
There he is.
All right. Now we got a pod on our hands, boys. This is an episode.
It's a podcast now.
It's a podcast, boys.
So we're going to book you for next 420. We'll do a real live stream, just like get stoned on marijuana thing.
Yeah.
Tucker, do you have any plans next 420?
I can't really think that far ahead.
Feed. Hang on, Luke. Yeah, I'm getting the
mothership. I'm downloading the code.
Oh, yeah. Geez, he's getting it in.
Ooh, very nice.
More prepared.
So yeah, no plans for 420. I guess it was kind of just like any other day for me.
Yeah.
This last one. So.
Yeah, that's fair. You remember 420 2 years ago is when we played in Boston together. Cycles on the Special.
Yeah, dude, that's cool.
Right.
I just started listening to your music, and it was like I was kind of a fan at that point, and then I got to meet you, and it was just like, oh, they're regular dudes.
You get to know them a little better, and you're like, wait, no, they're not.
Yeah. Regular goes out the window quick.
Or I meant regular as in they're like me.
Yeah. Strange boys.
Yeah, Tucker, you have one of the most accurate depictions of a human as your profile picture on Facebook that I've ever seen. It's not visually exactly right, but that's how I think I've always seen you.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I can't remember. I try to change it every now and then. I don't know which one you're talking about.
Don't keep this one for a while, Tuck. This one is you.
This for your hat every 3 minutes. That would be ideal.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'll set a timer. But hey, so I want to get to some important stuff about the stream. I noticed that Pat Harvey had the same pair of headphones as me, Audio Technica.
Oh, well, yeah, that was Logan's house. This good guy Logan does the camera jams. And he those are his headphones.
Well, you can tell he's a good audio man. Shout out Logan and shout out Audio Technica. And yes, we are looking for endorsements for the podcast. And I'll wear these every
Product placement.
If they won't come in, we got KRK. I got the.
Okay, we got KRK Audio Technica, so I mean, we can just go to the top if you're not willing to get on board now.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so I mean, are you guys playing new music with these streams, or is it like kind of an improv? I saw you had some colored sticky notes on the desk there. I didn't know if that was a set list or movie quotes or just ideas or hats or what.
Yeah, well, we've kind of right before the whole quarantine thing, we were just trying to teach Luke a bunch of songs, and we played like 4 shows with him, and I think we taught him 20 songs. So we've just been trying to play something different every stream, but those are I think they're mostly old cycle songs, and a few. I think we played 2 that were Luke's original songs.
Oh, cool. So he brought some new music to the band?
He did, and that was really cool because we had already taught done the whole new drummer thing. You know, that's never fun. But he had some new material, and we just learned it immediately, and he was really stoked about that too. So, and it was like really fresh way to get a new drummer, have him bring some new material, because otherwise it was just like another drummer.
Right.
So you just, when I last talked to you, you had just
Final Tap.
A new drummer. This is a newer drummer?
Yeah, this is the second new drummer. You know, they tend to spontaneously combust.
When do you have your next drummer lined up for?
Well, we're gonna see how long this guy lasts. I think he's the one though.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think he's the guy. He's
Did you audition people before, or like, was he on your short list from after the last guy joined?
Someone else recommended him to us, and we kind of needed a drummer to fill some gigs. Didn't want to cancel, so it wasn't even an audition. We were just like, someone recommended him, and we listened to some of his stuff, and we're like, oh, he's good.
Can I be the first to say Luke Stone, rock solid?
Oh, thank you, man.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, Luke, you've never had to deal with a band member replacement in La Special. Obviously, you and Chris's band has gone through a few changes, usually during the shows. But La Special has been.
are you talking about the Flat?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Flat has a tendency to break up and disband every show. Unfortunately, it's part of the learning process for us. I mean, we've had various members quit during the process, and then all members quit. Our last show, which was our second in the States, was around Christmas time at PST, shout out, in New Haven. And we didn't, our bassist Tuppence couldn't make his flight from England. So we had to hire this keyboardist, Chris Sellas. I gave him this MBJ guitar, shout out, a prototype I was using. He was terrible. He blew the gig, a lot of bad notes, and so we fired him on stage, and then we all broke up afterwards and brought him back. So it was tumultuous. But no, in terms of La Special, yeah, I mean, I've been playing with Roy since we were 12. We're hetero life partners. We've been together 15 years. And with the trio, it's, it's like you guys, it's so hard to say. You don't want to say the drummer's the expendable one, but it's like, it's really hard. It's like, with a trio, one member, it's like, that's a third of the band. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, that's a whole new voice. So, I mean, maybe there's something to, like, at least going through a few different drummers in a short period of time, as opposed to, like, getting attached and vibing with a drummer, and then, like, the next year you have to go through that whole process again in that growth period, you know?
It was interesting for us because we had, Dan was one of our primary songwriters, too. And then when he came to us one practice and was like, I think one of us was just coming back from the beach. Maybe he was coming back late. And he showed up and he's like, yeah, so just going to let you guys know, like, everything will be fine. You guys will be great. I'll be around through the end of the year, but I'm going to leave the band, and, everything will be great. I was like, is this how bands break up? Like, it's a very adult and just, like...
Right.
And I remember thinking, like, shit, we're going to have to look around for someone, and if it doesn't work out, what do I go back to school or something, or figure out, like, a future life? That didn't seem like a good option, and we tried a couple people out, and the first... 2, they were great drummers, and it was enjoyable playing with them, but it just didn't. It was like, this isn't it. And then we played for, I think, the first 3 minutes we were playing with Gator in Greg's parents' old house in Long Island in the basement. Me and Greg and Jeremy didn't even have to look at each other. We just kind of knew. We were playing. We're like, yeah, this is right. So we were extremely lucky to only have replaced one drummer who was amazing, an incredible musician, with someone who is like honestly a better drummer, and you know, is really 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 good dude, and has I've learned a lot from him as a person and as a musician, which I also learned from Dan as well. So it was we were very fortunate for that. So I'm happy to hear that you found someone who could be in it.
Yeah, I can really relate to that. It's kind of similar with our first drummer, Mr. Michael Wood. He
Shout out.
yeah,
Good dude, really good dude.
yeah, dude.
What? We love you, buddy.
Anyway, he wrote a lot of the material, so kind of having him leave was the same way. And when we had to, our second drummer, Colin, when he left, everyone was not civil or casual about it. It was very bad spirits. It was just kind of like, you know, like why? But
right.
Looking back on it now, I think he made the right decision. And shout out to Colin. Actually, yeah, he's playing with Neil Francis these days, and yeah, they're doing big stuff.
Cool.
It's great to hear, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice when everyone can just kind of be like, well, even when it's tumultuous in the time, look back and be like, well, everyone got something out of this experience, and then on to something that's a better fit.
If you can maintain a friendship and a it's like a you know, I don't talk to Dan that much, but we're still really good friends with him, and we have that relationship, and it makes the time you've had that much more. Even though it's only a short time with Colin, with you, but it makes it more of like a learning experience, not like a why, you know, woe is me type situation. It's like, okay, this is
right.
where it was. And yeah, I think it's important. I'm, you know, was into, when I first saw Fish, I was like, okay, that's how you do it. You have 4 members that are together forever and they keep going. And then Dan left. I was like, well, this isn't the same thing now. And it's, of course it's not, it's something different, but you know, we've been able to maintain and, you know, work forward in a different direction and do it our own way. And I think it's important for other people who might be seeing this to understand that, you know, it's never about, you know, where you're at is never the final product. You're always kind of shaping it and moving it forward. And if it's the same people, great. And you have this kind of family aspect, but if it switches around, you know, it's still a family. It's just a family in flux, I guess, at the time.
Yeah, and the music is so powerful. Even if a family member leaves or God forbid dies, you know, like you can still kind of carry on that vibe.
Yeah, it's sort of the idea that the music is the humans are serving the music, not the other way around. Like we come together and create. And I didn't actually know that Michael wrote songs for you guys. Was this before you were like singing more? Or did you start singing toward the end?
No, I always sang his songs. He just wrote lyrics and wrote the music. He's really good on piano. I think that's probably his main instrument, I would say. And
oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he started playing drums kind of later on. But yeah, I would sing his lyrics.
Oh, that's it. That's like kind of so you guys did it Rush style with Neil Peart writing lyrics and Geddy Lee would sing it.
Yeah, exactly. And we still sing his songs as a band, and he's really cool with it. He loves it.
Do you guys think it's easier or harder? Is it harder to break up with a drummer than a girlfriend? Where do they compare?
You know, I hate it. It's super cheesy, but maybe they're similar. Maybe it's a similar situation.
I think so.
Yeah.
I've always thought of a band as a multi-person relationship, except it's all guys and the sex is music.
That's perfect.
So if the music or the sex is good, it can last a lot longer than it might otherwise. And if it's a good group, but the music's not great, it might get, you know, just stall out as well. So you kind of have to find, you know, with the general construct of relationships of one guy and one girl, you know, there's different aspects and different approaches, and obviously there's a lot of variety, you know, variability within that. But within a band, you have, you know, people who are choosing, or music has chosen them, and they're going down that path, and it's a lot more. I guess each person probably has a vision of what they think it should be, and so you're also conflicting with that. Like, how do we want to see this going forward? And then you have a business aspect too. So I think it's a lot more complicated than just a regular relationship, but it also is, it's a much different experience, but there's a lot of parallels.
Maybe there's something more that can be salvaged with a musical relationship, because there's like all these things that there's something that can continue to go on, you know what I mean? And there's something that everybody, even if you're no longer a part of it, you contributed to it.
Right.
Maybe it has a different, you can still accomplish things and do things that are beautiful together with like a significant other, but it's less of like a tangible like experience that you've created that now you can kind of like pass off to somebody else, I guess.
Yeah, I remember when I first went on tour with the Magic Beans, that was kind of just the way they work together and how they treat each other was kind of eye-opening. Like you could tell they were just had been doing it for a long time, and they, just were all kind of on the same path that, didn't really bicker at each other. Like, and it got really bad. Like we were driving through Montana, I think, or
shout out to Montana.
But or maybe it was Wyoming, I can't remember, one of those up there. But anyway, their trailer flipped in the snow, and we like went over like a median kind of in the snow and had to unload all the gear, and the cops showed up, and even still they were just like, nope, we got it, we're doing this, we're getting out, and I'm leaving, I'm going to rent another trailer. So they like went like an hour to the next town, rented a new trailer, and came back, and we like with the people in the snow, and unloaded all the gear back in the trailer and just like continued on.
Were you in the van with them, or you were riding separately?
Yeah, it was me and Patty and Colin just in their van with them.
Nuts.
Yeah. Wow, that's intense, man. Yeah, I mean, and those guys have been on the road for a minute, like, and it's just kind of, you realize that it's like any familiar relationship or like a brotherhood where it's like you get irritated with anybody in close quarters, and then you move on. It's just, you can argue and fight or whatever, but then eventually you just kind of be like, all right, well, now we actually have shit to do. Like, we can all sit here and sulk, or we can just kind of like move on.
Well, also the Colorado band aspect, they're traveling a lot more, especially once they got bigger on the East Coast. That's, a full 24-hour drive to start touring. Whereas when we're on the East Coast,
right,
we can, we have 8 to 10 large markets within 3 to 4 hours of Baltimore. And same for you, Luke. You have a lot more. I remember when we first started touring with, we did the co-headline tour with Dopapod, and that's where we first learned about leaf springs versus I don't even remember what they're called now. Torsion axles. But yeah, like they were like, oh yeah, you're still using leaf springs? Like that's, we overload the hell out of these things. We're like, there's a weight limit? Like we're going over the weight, all sorts of things we didn't think about. And we've had some situations too where like this close to like all of our gear falling out of the trailer off of like a cliff basically. And luckily we like pulled over before that happened and stopped. And we're like, this is pretty close to being catastrophic, but I guess the vibe and like just being like team players and kind of facing these challenges together. I guess that's another way it's kind of similar to relationships, is you face challenges together, and if you can overcome them, it strengthens you and makes the bond stronger.
For sure.
Yeah, I think, and that's also just kind of goes into the whole situation musicians find themselves now in quarantine, right? Where it's like, you hope that you're just going to get through this and get back to the way things were and keep plugging, but with a maybe new appreciation for it, or develop some new skills, or realize, hey, we can still work and be productive and accomplish things not being in the same like physical space together, and just kind of come out of it with some new skills. It's all anybody can really work towards right now, which is the main thing with musicians.
Have you been in contact or like physically with your band, or like gotten together with them at all?
I haven't. No, we've been texting and emailing with like our management team and our agents and everything, but no, we haven't seen each other since we got back. We were in Colorado right when quarantine started, so we like changed our flight a few days earlier when we lost some gigs and flew back. But we haven't yet. We all were in like kind of self quarantine. We've been talking about maybe doing like a live stream together soon, since we all have been isolated and not around anybody really. But we're just kind of taking it slowly and being cautious and trying to, do whatever makes sense and not rush into anything. But we're looking to do a special live stream within the next couple weeks for sure.
And Tucker, have you guys been like self-isolating before you see each other, or how does that like work?
Yeah, I'm just north of Denver, like past Fort Collins, at my girlfriend's house, and we were hanging out. So I've been hanging out with her at her place since the whole thing went down, and then the few times that we go do the stream is the only time I've seen him. And I've hugged him, but the guy Logan actually like will do like the elbow bump, and he's very sterile and tries to be safe about it. But other than just meeting up with the band like every other week or so, I've just been hanging out with my girlfriend.
Yeah, the elbow bumps was weird. We did the West Coast like right as this was all going down. I remember the first week I biked from our venue in Solana Beach to a Home Depot to pick up like new locks for the trailer because the driver going across country like had to open the trailer to fix some wiring, and he cut off our locks and got like these shitty little locks. So I went to get nicer ones, and this was, I mean, February 5th or 6th or something, which turns out that was the first, I think that the first person who died was in San Francisco on February 6th, where we were like the next week. But they were already sold out of face masks. I remember being like, this isn't like that serious yet, is it? And now, you know, our merch guy after Seattle, we were there a couple weeks later, he started getting real sick. And so we started doing the elbow bumps about a week before everything kind of went down. And I was like, this is kind of weird, but it made sense on the road, like, you know, amongst like a band and everything. But now I see like, you know, regular, and by regular I mean older people doing it too. And it's just like a very strange thing that's going on.
Yeah, it's the longer it goes on, the more self-conscious I am about not wearing a face mask. I didn't wear a face mask when it first happened, and I saw some people that had them, but now it's like everyone does, and I'm the only one that doesn't. That's probably not a good thing.
It made me self-conscious to wear it. I tried to be, especially early on. I just didn't know how bad it was going to be, and the uncertainty was definitely caused anxiety. And so I was wearing it to doing certain things, and I'd feel like, you know, people would look at me weird because they're not wearing it, and I felt like, you know, not right about it. And now everyone else is wearing it too, and it's, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, that's a God. First thought that came to my head is like, what a trendsetter. But yeah, that's not funny. Yeah.
It's one of those things. I listen to a lot of the Joe Rogan podcast, and you know, the way that he talks with his other comedian friends. It's, you know, if you can't laugh, you know, you're gonna cry type situation. So I think there's a keeping a levity about it, and like, you know, there's a seriousness to it as well. But I don't know. That's something that I think is great about humans, is that we can run the gambit of like in any situation you could have someone who's like abject misery and someone else is just like, you know, whatever. Even in like, I think that's why they say, you know, it's not about what you have that makes you happy or not. It's like how you react to and approach things. And I think keeping that lightness is a great benefit that I don't think should be overlooked. But it also, it can be weird for that type of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an unprecedented thing, man. So, but you know, for me, it's like having like a weird sense of humor has always helped get you through things. And, you know, we talk about it a lot in the van, just kind of playing in a band together since we were kids. We've been through a lot of weird shit. Like, you know, having a sense of humor about it is kind of how you can get through it. But yeah, I mean, you know, you have to also keep it in context. And, you know, this is like, there's some really horrible repercussions of all this. And it's like, I don't think anyone's taking that lightly anymore. I mean, obviously they're like the people that are, you know, in Georgia protesting to go to the hair salon or whatever, maybe are on a different page than where people are in like the Northeast or in Colorado or Baltimore, wherever we're at. But like, it's a balance, man. You got to take it seriously and do everything you can to like contribute positively. But it's, I mean, if you can't laugh, if you can't joke around, you know, I've still been saying hi to dogs when I go out. I like saying hi to dogs. You never see a person happier in their life, and when you ask an excellent dog. Oh, thank you. Like dog over their hat, and they're gonna be like ecstatic. So like, you know, I went out, like I've been getting like, you know, my brother and I have been quarantined here, and so we've been doing like food shopping for our parents and stuff, and it's like, you know, we were out yesterday, and we went to Walgreens pharmacy, and just like tipped my hat to a dog. It's an excellent dog. And the guy just looked at me. So I don't know. Maybe he wasn't in the mood to have his dog be complimented.
You don't know that dog. That dog might have put him through some shit.
That dog's probably seen some shit. I know. Yeah. But I'm never going to stop complimenting people's dogs, no matter quarantine or not.
Luke, you know what I love about you? And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you go around bumming cigarettes and you don't smoke cigarettes.
That is accurate, my man.
That is amazing.
What do you do with cigarettes? Do you like share them with people who need them later?
I'll do different things. Like if they actually give them to me, like I'll sometimes just give them back. I'll give them to somebody else. Like Johnny smokes sometimes, so like if we have somebody in the crew with us that smokes, I'll give them to them. But it's become like a thing, and it's people just give me them now. Like I've walked on stage and have seen cigarettes on my synth, on my microcorg. Just like I'm like, how did somebody even get that on here? Like, did somebody throw that with like good aim, or did they come on? Did somebody that works here come on stage?
I was thinking we should probably get people to start throwing cigarettes at you.
Yeah, it's kind of happened. Yeah, like I'll have people like in the crowd that are like, "Yo, you smoke? You need to smoke, dude." And I'm like, "Yeah,
I don't
sure."
It's pretty fun, pretty endearing, and just cute as hell.
Oh, thanks, Tuck. Well, yeah. I want to get back to basics for a sec.
All right.
And talk about a bit about you guys' new EP, the Summer Dress EP. That's like it was just put out in March. Dude, it's awesome. I've been listening to it all week and really enjoying it. I checked it when it first came out, but then I wanted to give it a few different spin it through on Spotify.
Yeah.
Before we got together, and I really like it. I love like I love the title track of it. I love that it's like 2 songs, that it's got that really mellow, dreamy kind of first half, and then you guys like get into that cool, there's that like kind of blues riff that you're singing and a cool slap groove and stuff. Is that where the EP started with that track? What was like your writing process? Because that was with Colin on drums, right?
It was, yeah. I guess I wrote 2 new songs specifically for that album, Robot's Breath and Summer Dress.
Cool.
And the other ones were just kind of ones that we hadn't put on an album before.
Okay.
But yeah. It wasn't, I guess we didn't really call the album Summer Dress until we had decided what songs to put on it, and then we just decided to call it Summer Dress.
It's a lovely name.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I haven't checked it out though, but I really enjoyed you guys when we first started playing together. Your energy, both off stage and on, is it's like similar to certain things I've heard, but fresh in its own way, and it's just authentic. That's what I really like about you guys. Is just I feel connected to your experience, which I've always really vibed with music. And you're a hell of a bass player too.
Thanks, man. So are you. I've always vibed with you too. When we first opened up for you guys, it was like, oh my God, we're opening up for Pigeons, and you were kind of the first person that brought it down to earth for me. In the green room, or I can't really remember where.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Do you remember where it was? Because I do.
Where?
Beachland Ballroom in Cleveland.
Oh.
It was down in that big like cafeteria style green room.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right. Just like we kind of connected. You were going through like a time of life that we all go through certain times, even if it was just that day or that moment, and we connected. And I really appreciate that because I don't get that authentic connection on the road a lot. Either with other bands or with my own bandmates. We're working, we're doing stuff, and when it was just the 4 of us, it was definitely a different vibe. And now we have a whole crew, and we don't set up our own stuff as much anymore. I think then we still were, but it just sort of changes the nature of things. It becomes a more solitary affair as you go forward. So it's good to connect with other people. Luke touring with you guys was awesome too. I feel like we really connected, and
definitely,
it's been great. Early on, especially being on the East Coast, we wouldn't do longer tours with bands, and now as we're going out west more, and now that we can headline, we can bring bands along for longer runs, and I really like that experience. It's a much different approach rather than just like kind of coming in and no one knows who you are and just like trying to prove yourself every night, and then like touring with a family.
Yeah, and that's something that's really cool about Pigeons too, is that you guys like handpick the bands that play with you, and they're not bands that sound like you guys are different. I mean, I remember like we've done a few run of shows together at this point, and then the longer run this year. And I remember just like hanging with Greg this summer, just being like, so why do you want like the special on this tour with you? Like, what's that about? and he's just like, we just dig you guys, man. We like the music. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Like nobody wants to see people with these bills. It's like, you want to see a show, man. And nobody wants to see 2 bands that just kind of sound the same. Like, I think that, the headlining band, that's the show. But if you can come up with an act that complements the band or is different or maybe turns people on to a new style, like that's the coolest thing when you go to a show and you see one of your favorite bands and you're introduced to something else that's different than what your favorite band is. And you come out of that like fulfilled for seeing some music that you love and for opening your ears to something new. Like that's one of the most positive experiences you can get out of a concert, I think.
All that is true. And also we had already used our vetoes. So unfortunately we're stuck with you.
Yeah, I know. I heard that you were not into it, but Greg had final say. So I shout out, Greg. Thank you for bringing this on, buddy.
But yeah, no, we used to do gig trades to develop. We would do a residency in Baltimore every Wednesday at the 8x10. By the end, we were selling it out every single Wednesday, 300 people plus, and we'd bring bands in and like, here, play with us on a Wednesday, and bring, steal our fans, and then we'll come down and play, a big show with you guys and steal your fans, and it's a different experience. It's not exclusive where I only like this type of band, so I'm gonna like this one. It's like if you like live music, there's different expressions, and there's kind of a built-in abundance to the whole experience, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love, and that's it. It was kind of similar for Cycles and the Special too. When we first linked up, we were doing like some co-headlining shows, and then we were supporting you guys in Colorado, and we opened for you guys big like sold out show at Denver, the other side, to Cervantes' other side, and then we worked it out. So we brought you guys over to the East Coast, and I remember hanging out with the Beans after Snowstock where we both played. And Hatchie was like, he's like, you guys taking Cycles like to go play in Boston, New York? He's like, they hooked you guys up. Like, you gonna take them? And I'm like, yeah, man. And I was like, I'm not. And like, fuck just doing a gig. So I was like, we fucking love their band. Like, we want our fans to hear them. You know what I mean? Like, that's what. It's not just business when it's like the people get along and they dig each other's music.
Oh man, I dug your music immediately. The first song I heard of Less Special was Crusher, I think, on YouTube.
Oh my God. Wow. Old 2011.
Yeah. And I was floored, man. I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. Like, I can't believe we're going to play with these guys.
Wow. So, I'm sorry we didn't play Crusher at any of those shows.
Oh, that's okay. I still play it on YouTube by myself.
That's amazing. So, Tuck, I know that that Mr. Harvey Pat put out a solo album. Is it released yet, or is it coming out soon?
I think it's on Spotify. He's actually got 4 or 5. It's pretty mind blowing. He's been just in his room making music for weeks since the whole thing happened. But it takes a while to actually not 100% sure of the stipulations, but Spotify, I think they charge you, and then it's like a 2-week waiting period before it actually goes on. But yeah, he just put out one called Dreams, and I think he's got 3 more just as soon as Spotify will let him.
Cool. Yeah. And you guys played some of it last night when I was watching the stream, just in between your sets, and it was really dope. And I know that Pat's a Dilla boy, and it had some Dilla vibes and really like swag, chill hip hop. Is that something that you would ever consider, like doing a solo album or a solo bass stream, or are you more concerned just with writing with Cycles in the trio context?
I guess Cycles is definitely my main focus, and when I make my own music, it's kind of more of a joke.
I want to hear all of it.
Yeah, I've got some stuff. I don't quite know how to tag it or whatever.
It's like Andrew WK meets Ween.
Yeah.
Oh, you've heard it, Ben?
I heard the one you put out the other day. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, shit. Wait, Tuck, where can I and the people listening hear the solo Tuck?
Well, I've got a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Tucker McClung. I try to post stuff on my Facebook. But you've inspired me. I think now I will put out a solo album of just all my music.
There you go.
Back to basics, baby.
Shout out to Back to Basics.
Yep.
You can call the album that, Tuck, if you want, and you don't even have to credit us. It'll just tie into our marketing bundle.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. That's a great marketing technique.
I believe when you click the Zoom link, you authorized that, so it's already named Back to Basics.
Back to Basics.
Yep.
We've already started the Spotify application process, so you'll be hearing from them shortly. We work very quickly on this podcast, Tuck.
Yeah. It's come together. It's in about 2 years we had the idea, so we're moving through it. 3 episodes.
2 years. Now we're prolific in our content output. It just took us a while now that we've laid the foundation, we're trucking along.
I don't know about pro, but lithic for sure.
It's been a lific experience. What hat do we have here, Tuck?
This one says, even in the end, high altitude spirits.
Wow. Fantastic.
Right.
I'm wearing my Kush Concentrate. It's a shirt I got at Denver Dispensary in your honor, Tuck.
Oh, dude, love weed. Love weed.
Dude, you and me both, brother.
Have you? I actually went through a period last year where I stopped smoking. Well, I had been smoking a lot for I don't know, like 5 decades of my life. I've only been alive for 3, and then I took a break, and I've gotten back into it in a very comfortable way. Have you taken any breaks recently, or are you just kind of keep sticking with what
I,
works?
but I'm very thankful it's always there. And like, you know,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with Rory, man. Like Rory champion. We ability, just kind of like if you're like just shit falling down on you the whole time, constantly trying to like solve problems or also get to be in a creative space and stuff like that. And there's just stress that I think it really helps with on the road where like, okay, you're gonna go sit in this dingy basement room for 3 hours. Like, do you
oh,
want weed or not? And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna want weed in that basement.
yeah, I like it for mental fatigue, especially if I've been driving for a long time.
Yes.
It just feels good. And man, I love it because I've struggled with addiction, unfortunately, like in my past, but something about weed doesn't really like steal my soul or, feel like a demon that's on my
Right.
back. It's just like a friend that's there
Yeah.
when I need it.
It's the angel on the shoulder, not the devil.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read a book in college by Carlos Castaneda about the teachings of Don Juan. I don't know if any of you all have heard about Don Juan.
I know Don Juan. He's an
A
old friend.
separate reality or something like that.
Yeah,
Is that
separate
one of them?
something like that is Nagual in spirit, and I really identified with that, and kind of like embodied some of those aspects for a little while. But one thing that really stuck out to me was how he calls substances and drugs allies to humans. Like they're not um, inert substances. They kind of have their own intention and like desires and needs and wants. And I found that weed is a great ally as long as you're treating it with respect and properly. There's others that are not so good, but if you can still kind of hang out with them in the right environments, maybe that's okay. But yeah, it's interesting to frame it that way.
I think there's also something just about weed that's like that ritual between like friends, right? Where there is that like ritualistic element where like for the special when we were in high school and we'd get together after school and we'd go over to John's place and go in the basement, it was like, you smoked a bowl and then we plugged in and started playing and like, when you're younger and just kind of smoking weed and playing music and improvising together is like magic. And not just necessarily say it's because of the weed, but it's just kind of all, merges in that experience. And so there's almost something about that like pre-show ritual now, even like if all 3 of us are in different places or doing whatever we're doing before a show, grabbing a food, emergency table, bathroom, whatever, sometimes all 3 saying hi to somebody eating a sandwich on the toilet.
Yeah.
Like when you can all just get together in the green room and just like have a quick powwow and just, take a hit of something, whatever, and just kind of like get on the same page and take you back to that element of like, oh yeah, we are just friends hanging out, playing music. It's the same shit we've been doing our whole adult lives. You know what I mean? I think something about taking it back to that element.
That's a good point about it's sort of a ritualistic aspect. One thing I really liked about Goose when we were playing with them is every show, every single one right before Coach, their hype man slash I guess tour manager technically. Uh,
Coach.
Coach,
Coach wears many hats, just like us.
shout out to Coach, that motherfucker. I enjoyed getting to know him better.
Coach is the man, without a doubt.
And he does this like ridiculous like pump up like cheer chant type thing, and we try to do something like that before shows, but there's things going on. We're trying to make sure whatever, and we don't really smoke weed too much before shows. I think Gator still does. Greg stopped years ago, and he's definitely a prolific weed smoker.
Yeah, I remember asking Greg if he smokes before shows. He's like, "Oh God, no."
So like 5 to 6 hours before, because he's the front man. He needs to be engaged, and he understands what people at a show are experiencing because he's experienced it, and now he's more interested in working with that energy rather than being part of that energy, or being a conductor rather than being an instrument, I guess.
That makes a lot of sense. I've never thought about it that way, but
it opened my eyes, and I think I didn't really conceive of the not smoking weed before shows. Like, yeah, sure, but then you get, especially longer sets, you get a little burnt out, and same thing with drinking too. I used to 45-minute sets. Like, sure, I'll have a beer and like drink going into it, but when I started playing longer sets, I realized that in order to really get into that vibe, sometimes it's better to just it's kind of like meditation. Like, you can be high going into a meditation, but it's not going to be as pure and authentic as it's going to be. Like, I did it last night, and I was like fucking like really high and feeling good, but like, I wonder if I had not been high, what I would have gained differently out of this experience. I think I've been really grateful to be with the people I am in this experience in this band, because I don't think I would have had the wherewithal or thought to try to do it that way. But I think it's sort of, you're just connecting with a ritualistic aspect, and as long as you're doing things consciously and being aware of it, that's sort of the goal.
Yeah, exactly. I talk about it with students a lot, actually. Students ask like if we drink or smoke or whatever before shows, and I said it depends, and I kind of said the same thing. We do some, like we used to always smoke before we would practice and stuff, and so sometimes that gets us together. But there's some shows where it's like, I'm good today, or I want to go and focus or something. I actually told this to one of my students last week. They were talking about it, and I brought up when the special opened for Pigeons at the Ogden in November. And like before the set, we were like getting everyone together, and we do like a quack chant from Mighty Ducks, and that our buddy Pat Boyle show. We've been doing it for years now, but so we were doing that. We're getting ready to go on, and we hear like our walk-on music, which is the Mars Attacks theme. So we hear that, we know we have 2 minutes to get to, and Chris CB has to like wrangle us together. But like Rory's hitting a bowl, Pat, everyone's taking a hit, and I was like, I'm kind of good, man. It's a little bit of an intimidating show. It's like sold out Ogden Theater, like, and I was like, all right, fuck it. Yeah. I took a rip, and it was the last rip, and it's like that ashy, shitty rip, or like, like green smoke coming out of my nose. I'm like, what? And then it's like, I was like, all right, I need water. And the music's almost done. Chris is like, you got to go, man. And so like, I remember just walking out on stage, dark theater, and it was packed. Like, you guys, we sold that shit out. And it was packed, like, when we walked out, which isn't always the case for opening.
Ridiculous crowd.
It was ridiculous crowd. And we got out there, and it was dark, and I was, like, just coffee still, like resin smoke filling my head, just like, Jesus. And, of course, we're opening. Like, we usually open with a little noise and kind of, like, get our bearings, set a loop or something like that. But we were opening with a song, Onlookers, where I sometimes do a bass intro, and I do this, like, chordal intro with these tenths. And of course, like, that's the song we're opening with that night. So it's like everyone's cheering. I'm like just kind of like lightheading out of it, and then have to like start playing just me. And I just remember hitting that like E minor 10th and just being like, this is super intimidating. Why did I hit that ball? So,
that's how you learn, though, I guess.
Yeah. What's that?
That's how you really learn. Like,
yeah,
we're a unique business, I guess, where we can. I mean, what other job? I'm sure there are certain ones, but you show up at work every day, and it's like, here's alcohol that you have that is required to be given to you as part of your job. And so it's a very interesting. It's a hard experience to try to like navigate that in a disciplined manner, because a lot of, I don't know about musicians in general, and I just know a lot of bassists sometimes have less of an ability to be disciplined about that aspect. So it's interesting to kind of have that temptation there. And it's always there, even if you're fully sober. People in the audience are going to be drinking and going to be doing it. So it's, you can't really escape it. So you sort of have to navigate, and you learn over time. Just like, you're saying, Luke, if you get out there that one time, you're like, well, that wasn't that wasn't good. And you still can do it, but like you're just not gonna take that ass hit next time for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the one where I came out.
Why did I take the last hit? I don't know.
And it's funny you mentioned about bass players. I didn't know that stigma, because right before you're going to say that, I was thinking I actually have to kind of keep myself in check. I get really nervous before I play a big show, as a lot of people do, and I was using alcohol to kind of hinder that. It's a pretty slippery slope, because it doesn't feel good to be sloppy in front of people. That it's kind of disheartening in a way to make you not do that again. That's why I stopped taking acid before shows, because I was doing it and everything was great. I felt like Jimi Hendrix, but then that one night it was just pouring sweat and all I wanted to do is curl up into a ball, and I had to perform, and it just felt like torture. I was like, what the?
Yeah, I remember, Tucker, we talked about this at, I think it was summer camp last year. You and I were talking about it, and you were saying like about that experience, and your hand had cramped up, right? And you were saying you have to kind of use your thumb as a pick or something.
I just had to use my gimpy claw, like just claw it, like, and just pouring sweat, like, oh, this, so scared, like, oh.
Shout out to Tucker, the Claw McClung.
That's so intense, dude. That's like a worse nightmare for me. I could like now you've got a little hand to help you out.
Yeah, just going at just.
I was watching. I was just like YouTube surfing last night, and I happened upon this set from Colonel Claypool's Bucket of Bernie Brains. Have you guys checked out that band before?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen them before, Tuck?
I haven't seen them. I've heard their music. That stuff's really cool.
His Frog Brigade or something different?
It's different. It was from like 2003. It started from a super jam at Bonnaroo and became an actual band. They did tours and put out an album. It's Claypool, Bertie Worrell from P-Funk, Brain on drums, and Buckethead on guitar.
Wow.
It's wild. Yeah, I got to see them at Roseland Ballroom in New York in 2003, and I got to meet all of them afterwards, and everyone was super cool. Like, Buckethead literally had the mask on, had a green Adidas tracksuit with the hood up, and, like, didn't say anything, but he signed my ticket stub. I was, like, a 15-year-old kid, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. You wear the mask and the bucket, and you don't really say anything, and all right, I think that's the only common ground I have with Buckethead. I mean, I should have brought up Disney World or something. I know he loves Disney World, but I ended up watching like a full set last night, just having it on the background of when they first started touring. It was like they hadn't put out their album, and it was largely improv, and pretty weird improv. Like when you get all those guys together, and like very theatrical. Like Les and Buckethead are both wearing hats, but like Buckethead does these like nunchuck things and like does the robot and has puppets. And, like, at one point, like, Les Claypool takes one of Buckethead's, like, hands. He has, like, an animatronic puppet hand, and he's just, like, slapping his bass with it. Like, it was really trippy, man. I don't know. It just your guys' little hands are giving me flashbacks of Buckethead's animatronic hand.
Yeah, let's just do that.
But, I mean, you have that as a choice now, Tuck. If you ever get a claw again, yeah, let's see what it sounds like.
Let's see here.
There we go.
Trying to make it.
Let's hear it. Yeah, that's a good view. Yeah. Can you play Summer Dress on that thing?
I was going to say, is this your new solo album? I think we're getting a sneak peek. This is great.
Yeah, Tucker's Back2Bassics solo album.
I didn't like that take. Can we do that one again?
Yeah, we can.
This can all be edited. We'll do an hour and a half of talking. We'll get back to that moment, okay?
This is a heavily edited podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna Wichita.
Yeah, play with the flower though.
Yeah, try
you play that bass line and I'll sing.
What? Seven Nation Army?
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm going to Wichita. Seven Nation Army isn't behind my back. Fight them all. Breaking my maul when the time is that. And I'm not talking about a city today, and I can hold my hand.
Oh, shit.
Hey,
Back and forth through my mind, bumming a cigarette.
that was pretty good. If you want us to sit in, if you're gonna do Seven Nation Army on the album, Tuck, we'll sit in.
Yeah, was that an original? I like that one.
Yeah, it's something I've been working on for a while. I don't know. I thought it kind of sounds like a song already, but
You should call it. I think you should call it "Smoke on the Water."
Ooh, or what about Sunshine of Your Love?
No, that one's taken.
By who? Oh, The Dead. I always forget that it's a Dead song.
Yep. That's their.
What's your favorite?
China
What's your
Cat.
favorite Grateful Dead song?
Say what?
What's your favorite Grateful Dead song?
Drums into Space.
That's a good answer.
We covered help on the way early on into Slipknot, and I really enjoy their tight. I mean, it's like a tight but very loose, jammed out album version. That's sort of like, obviously their live stuff is what it's all about, I suppose. But to hear them kind of concentrating that energy into a studio form was very inspiring towards what I try to do with Pigeons. What we try to do is take that energy of a live show, because they were some of the precursors of fuck recorded music. We're doing it about the live experience. Recording our supporting that whole thing. Not we tour to support an album. We put out an album as part of our live touring experience, and that really resonated with me. So the way that song is done on that album is pretty cool. But, I don't know. What's your favorite song, Tucker?
It has to be Truckin'. Call me a newbie or whatever, but
I mean, look at that hat. How? Of course it's Truckin', dude. Like, yeah. Tucker, do you guys do any Grateful Dead stuff? I don't really. It's not really my background personally. Johnny's really into it in the bluegrass side, but we've never covered any. I don't even know how to play any Dead songs. I have like students that are into it, and I'm like, I can't really like. They show me stuff, and Phil Lesh is incredible. I just so it's not really
it's not mine either. Never wasn't really a Deadhead. It's still I have a t-shirt. I like the t-shirt. I think the t-shirt's cool and the logo is really
cooler than your Montana t-shirt though. I mean,
it's pretty cool. Oh, I can't find it, but it's in the laundry somewhere.
Thanks for extensively looking for it though.
And to get back to basics too, Tucker, I wanted to ask, it's pivot, man. It's all pivot points on this podcast. I like obviously you have a pretty cool, unique slap style that people are vibe to. I want to first bring up that you were voted on Reddit's like jam band bassist of the year. First off, congrats. And how do you feel talking to me and Ben, who didn't win that category?
You know, it's a huge honor. I'm gonna put it on my resume, and and like just show the youngsters like when I'm old and whether
your about section on your solo album would be Tucker McClung voted best jam band bassist on Reddit. Solo album.
2019.
I could be your merch guy. I think.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Tucker, what if you even just call the album? You don't have to call it Back to Basics. Just shout us out on like every track or something. But if you even just called it like, or just make that like Tucker McClung, Reddit's voted #1 bassist in the jam scene. Maybe that's the album name.
Future #1 solo album in the jam scene on Reddit.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, actually. That's a great idea. I like that better than Back to Basics, but I still have to shout out to Back to Basics. This just intermittent kind of like Back to Basics. That's whatever's going on.
Back to Basics.
Yeah, or even just more of like a YouTube thing where you're like vibing and it's just like, hey, do you feel sick? You know what I mean? Like a nice little like pharmaceutical ad just slides in there to take you out of the moment. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
As long as you do what we tell you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was really stoked to see that. It made my heart flutter, and I don't know. There's a little imposter syndrome kind of going on because because I like to be really flashy and just play really hard and really fast, and gets people's attention, I guess.
It does, man. Well, that's why I was gonna ask, like, who are some of your bigger influences bass playing wise? Because you obviously have created kind of a pretty unique sound and style, and then also somebody or people that are a big inspiration to you, non-musicians.
Well, musicians. It was for the bass. The first one was definitely Marcus Miller.
Cool.
Just his Fender jazz bass tone just made me want to get one and get that sound out of it. So definitely Marcus Miller for bass, but non-musical influences, that's a hard one.
Anybody like from Montana in particular,
or Wyoming, anywhere really?
Yeah, or is it just like the state? Do you just have something like the Pacific Northwest as a region just kind of speaks to you?
No, not particular. I just got this at it's really, really funny roadside stop called like the 50,000 Silver Dollar, I think.
Wow. Yeah.
And they have everything, and it's all $20, like swords, axes.
Whoa.
Everything you want. This T-shirt.
That T-shirt was $20 too.
Yeah, just jewelry. Everything's
like,
$20.
Was it between like a sword and a Montana shirt for you, and you were like, "Well, they're both $20." Like the sword would be for the van, but I could wear this shirt on stage tonight. You know?
Yeah, I guess it was the most practical choice, and I probably only had $20 because if I had more money, I would have just gone nuts. You know, who doesn't want an axe and a sword, and it's like a coonskin cap, you know.
Oh man, you could have added that to the hat repertoire today too. Next time.
Yeah, next time. But yeah, shout out $50,000 in for Montana.
Where is that?
Yeah, what state?
So I think it's in Montana.
Wow, this guy, man, Montana.
Big Sky, Montana, baby.
Hey, yeah. One other thing I wanted to get to before we wrap up. I know you guys are busy bass boys. I posted in the Cycles fan group, the Getting Cyclical. And I just let everyone know that I have the opportunity of a lifetime that Ben and I are going to be interviewing Tuck on the podcast. And so I just asked if anybody had any questions or anything. So I have a couple here I'll go through. And we'll see what your response is here, Tuck. So this is for the Cycles fans in the Getting Cyclical Facebook page.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Patrick Harvey, your guitarist and friend, said ask him about Tutti Frutti slut wipes.
Oh, geez. So Patty hadn't seen this guy, Joe Ryan. Shout out to Joe Ryan. Wild dude, just a ball and a half to be around. But he's kind of a philanthropist of sorts and likes to kind of fund, different business ventures. I think he actually helped the guy who started Dude Wipes. You know, have you heard of Dude Wipes?
I would take them as a sponsor. I've used them.
Anyway,
just fine. They're just branded differently.
His next venture is the Tutti Frutti Slut Wipes. It's for it's like kind of hard to talk about. I don't know why. I feel a little uncomfortable, but yeah, basically Tutti Frutti Slut Wipes are for like wiping off strippers before you put your face in them. Or like
seems like good advice for kids today.
Or if you want to be intimate with someone that you're not quite familiar with, just like a stranger, you might want to bust out the slut wipes.
Okay. I think that'll probably go well if you're kind of getting a little hot and heavy with the girl. You might met her at a show, like at the Merced, you start talking, and like, hey, come back to my green room, and then like, hang on one sec, you just pull out your Tutti Frutti slut wipes. Like, can I wipe you down real quick?
Yeah.
Hey,
look,
you got the idea. You explained it better than a lot more appropriately than I would. That was embarrassing.
Important stuff, guys. This is these are the kind of guidelines that the CDC wants us to be following and talking about. You know what I mean? I mean, this coming out on the other side of this is maybe we'll see some Tutti Frutti slut wipes in green rooms. That was great.
Next question.
Next question. Thanks, Patty. Your bassist on the spot there, bro. Maybe you didn't think I would ask it, but I did.
Oh man.
Okay. Now we got Colin O'Brien here. Said ask him about the cheese farm. You know about the cheese farm?
This is another business venture idea, I guess. But basically it's a human cheese farm, and it's have a bunch of ladies working for me that I connect to pumps. It's all humane, like the really clean working conditions, great pay, great benefits, and we use breast milk to make cheese.
Wow. You could call it the breast cheese around.
Yep, it is human cheese, the
Okay.
best cheese around.
Human cheese farm. We're learning a lot about you, Tuck, but I think we're learning more about the Cycles fans here. Let's get to our buddy Caton Sollenberger, our friend from the Jaunty, Guitars and Jaunty. Awesome.
Ooh, shout out to the Jaunty.
Yep, you guys Colorado brethren. I was homies with those guys. We all went to Berkeley together, so we were friends in Boston years ago. So he asked, awesome. Was there a specific person that influenced him to do the drop D thing, or did you just like it? What is this drop D thing, Tuck?
Well, I started playing guitar and I was just way into Black Sabbath and Tool, just like sludgy, easy stoner riffs, I guess. And I played drop D on guitar for about 5 years. Then when I switched to bass, I just didn't want to not do it.
So you always play a lot?
Yeah, always in drop D.
Are you always in drop D?
Always.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Always?
Always.
There's not one Cycle song that's in standard tuning?
I mean, they're all in standard tuning, but I just play it in drop D.
Yeah. You're just in, so Patty isn't. He'll sometimes be in standard tuning, and you'll be in drop D.
Patty's always in standard tuning, and I'm always in drop D.
Wow, interesting.
Makes this my home base, and not this. Like, basically,
like fifth fret A string ring finger kind of position.
Right. So if I'm in A, this is my A.
Okay, I got you. Right.
Yeah. This is my A, whereas like on standard tuning, this would be my A.
Yeah.
But I just go like this.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I played a few things in drop D before I got the 5-string, and it's a different animal because your octave, instead of being a square, it's a line. And
yeah, it kind of screws with people when I haven't jammed with, and they'll be kind of watching me like, what the hell? Because
why is he everything he's playing is sevenths?
Yeah. Or like, that seems like a whole step off from what I want to do. You're like, why? But yeah, that's just okay, what I do.
It kind of makes sense because even like when we at Cervantes, Rory and I sat in with Cycles and we did the Shake Hands with Beef and we did the double bass, drop D to. Yeah, fire. It's interesting. We have like a lot of songs in drop D, a lot of songs in D minor, also just like the Tool Camp and shit. But John and I go back and like if there's a song that we do in D minor, I tune down to drop D. But sometimes he's in standard. But sometimes he'll tune in down to drop D for songs that are in standard that I don't. So like when we're writing set lists and we're trying to keep it easy tuning wise, it never is because we're like always on the same page. Do Pigeons have any songs in drop D, Ben? Do you guys ever do? Does Jeremy have a guitar sitting there that's in D?
Yeah, the guitarists never switch to drop D or anything. I did for a bit. Trying to remember specifically what songs. There's just certain times where I wanted to get a little bit extra lower, and so I would just start tuning down. They similar to what you're talking about, Jeremy and Greg as well. Pretty much everyone likes to keep the show flowing, which I've found. The more we like focus on that, the more I also ascribe to that. Like a good flowing show is very helpful. I used to think, just take a minute and, whatever, collect yourself. But if you keep the experience moving, it's kind of cool. I've also wanted to switch basses for certain songs. There's a slap song where I can just have my 4-string and just go fucking wild, and then more compositional 5-string piece. I haven't yet because I want to make sure we do it in a seamless fashion and we understand, the song that I would probably switch to the 4-string for, the Liquid, has an extended guitar intro, so I'd have time to do that and practicing. When our tour manager, Kevin, shout out Kevin.
Kevin is the man.
Kevin is the man.
Yes, the trash man, as we call him, TM. We practice like sliding it on and off and everything. But I was gonna ask you, Luke, if you have heard of the hip shocks, where it just flick it down and flick it back up, and have you thought about using those?
Yeah, totally. There was a couple of bassists at Berkeley I had classes with that had them. They're really cool. I would totally be into getting one at some point.
It's kind of like this podcast where we had the idea for 2 years and now we're doing it.
Yeah, I think it'll be one of those things. I'll just keep referencing and then I'll get around to it whenever I do.
You guys actually had this idea 2 years ago?
Maybe longer.
I think actually Cece, my fiance, I knew her for a while, but I connected with her at Woodhenge. Shout out to Woodhenge.
Woodhenge.
It was a festival at a property called Woodhenge. It's like a sustainability thing where you live on the property and work 40 hours a week helping out. Cece did the garden, and she also did a badass job helping to organize it with Brandon Keller and Gina. They were both living there, and she met them at Domefest, and I played with the side project of my side project, so Schwa, and then the DJ set. We had our epic late night jam. I think Luke and I did 30 seconds every 3 months, which I haven't released any yet, but I have an ongoing podcast that is the only stipulation. It has to be 30 seconds long.
Oh, right.
No more, no less.
Yeah, we did do that.
I release it once every 3 months, and I have a backlog of probably 5 of them, so that's like over a year's worth of podcasts right now. Wow, but yeah, we'll get to that too. But I think we talked about having this idea then. She mentions like, yeah, I think you guys mentioned it at Woodhenge, and that was me when I first connected with her and now engaged. So it's been that long.
Yeah, it's been a few years. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the other kind of, a bit of the silver lining of people doing this, connecting and doing projects that are more virtual that you haven't done before. I mean, we've wanted to, and when we were on tour this fall, we kept talking about doing it, but I mean, we both had busy schedules. You guys were on that massive West Coast tour, and so
there's also barriers to entry, and like we don't want to do it half-assed. But then once everyone's using Zoom and streaming, it's like, well, we have a few weeks or a couple months to like work on a slightly lower quality product as we get it better. I think we've already gotten to a point. If we had done this from the beginning, I think we were just afraid to try it out because we did want it to be good enough, and now, we sort of fallen into it. I mean, people like, Reddit's #1 jam bass player not going to have time to talk with us if they're busy. So this is the kind of time where we need to really be maximizing on the Brownsteins and the Tucker McClungs of the world, getting them involved.
We're maximizing.
Oh, thanks, band.
Yeah. I want to get back to have a couple more questions here.
Back to basics, as it were.
I want to get back to basics, get back to these getting cyclical questions. This is from Clint. He says, magnets, how do they work?
Oh, man.
I can feel that one, Tucker.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know if that's specific to you, but Ben might be the guy our resident bass scientist on this podcast.
Yeah, Ben, you want to take this one?
I will quote. I can't remember who it is exactly at this moment. I should remember. I feel embarrassed. I can't think of his name. But he said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Alexander Bell said that.
No, but good try.
Tesla?
It's someone like Tesla, but not Bertrand Russell, or not. It could have been Buckminster Fuller. It's someone like that.
Somebody that has a name that sounds like a British estate.
I actually did do a science project in 10th grade, I believe, on superconductors. And those are fucking crazy because regular superconductors, as far as they knew, like regular magnets that you cool down to like 4 Kelvin or up to 8 or 9 Kelvin, which is 4 Celsius degrees above absolute zero. But they found out that higher temperature superconductors, if you cooled them down, they eventually got to over 72 Kelvin, which is where liquid nitrogen cools things down to. But ceramics that are not normally magnetic at all become superconductors, certain ones, when you lower them to a certain temperature. So to answer your question, how do magnets work? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that was a deep question. Maybe Clint was going for more of a philosophical kind of thing there. But I think that you just taught us something new in the process, Ben.
Yeah.
All I can say is I'm attracted to this whole line of questioning.
I think Clint was referring to that ICP song. Those are lyrics from an ICP song. It's like, fucking magnets, how do they work?
Do you guys do cycles have a lot of crossover into the Juggalo ICP world?
We don't. I've been wanting to get into it. Haven't yet. I don't really understand it, trying to, but once I get it, I think it's kind of like fish. You have to go to a show.
Whenever I think of ICP, I really think, yeah, they're kind of like fish.
I would go one step further and say ICP are exactly like fish.
I would agree with you. This is actually a good time to drop Pigeons Halloween 2028. We're doing ICPPPP.
Oh, yes.
I think that'll be the next show back after the quarantine. Is Halloween 2028. So.
Oh my God, dude!
I really perfect this stuff.
You guys in clown face for that.
Yep, we're gonna be having magnets and how they work.
Dude, that's amazing. All right, we're learning so much about magnets and fish. Just got 2 more here for you, Chuck. Addison asked what your favorite flavor of crayons are.
It's easy.
Easy.
Red.
Okay. Ben, what about you? You said it was easy.
Boy, putting me on the spot here. They're all so good.
You said it was
Like,
easy.
well, it's like picking a favorite child. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you hate them all, but like you want to eat them.
Right. Okay. Yeah. For me, cyan, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's not my questions. We got one more for you, Tuck.
All right, bring it on.
This is from Tony Walden, and this is a bass question.
Tony Waldron?
Yes, I believe
I
so.
just had a chill session with him earlier today. He's one of my bass students.
Oh, cool. Shout out Tony Waldron. That's awesome.
Hey, that is cool.
Well, maybe maybe you can shed some light on this too, Ben. He asked how many hours per week is adequate for practicing when you're touring versus not touring. It's a good question.
Well, when I'm touring, I don't practice.
Right.
Just because I'm tired and just trying to, drink beer in the green room or whatever. But I'll warm up.
Right.
Do
you find yourself practicing more now during the quarantine than you did when you guys were touring?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was kind of waves for me. It was just like sort of stoked about the novelty of all of it. And then I got really down on myself, just kind of disenfranchised feeling. And now I'm back to just feeling like I could actually use it to develop some skills, work on my chops,
Awesome.
Like
yeah, I've seen you post some videos of those triplet rakes you do. Those are really awesome. And so you're offering online lessons as well, right? Is there a way that people can get in touch with you, just shoot you a DM or anything if they're interested in a bass lesson with you?
Yeah, just hit me up on Facebook. We'll do it that way. But
what's your email in case people aren't on the Facebooks?
My email is tmclung8766@gmail.com.
Okay, one more time. That's so awesome. And obviously for anybody else, like Ben is also doing lessons. I'm doing them independently, and now I've started with Live Lesson Masters. My page is up now as of this week. So for anybody out there, we did a whole podcast talking a lot about it with Brownie, but livelessonmasters.com is awesome. Not just bassists and not even just musicians. They offer yoga classes on there, cooking classes. Really cool website, and the roster is really interesting and diverse. So anybody who hasn't checked that out yet, there's something literally for everybody to be productive and work on. It's an awesome site.
Right on. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's dope. So yeah, I mean, okay, we got back to basics. Is there anything else, anything, Tucker, that you want to put out into the bass podcast sphere before we let you go?
Yeah, I guess just want to say, keep bassing. We got a job to do even now, so everyone just keep up the good work, and that's it.
That's fire. Can we put that, Ben? Can we put that as the quote on the website? We got a job to do.
Yes, that's my job to do.
Yes.
Shout out to having a job to do.
Yeah.
Job to do. Awesome.
Well, that's awesome, dude. Tucker, thanks for hanging with us, man. It's always good to hang and see you and see your hats. And the Montana shirt was unexpected and incredible.
Really, that took the cake, man. That's the first Montana shirt on this podcast, and hopefully not the last. I really hope not.
Oh, me too, man.
Yeah, and you should share that that bass raking video or anything else either on Back2Bassics page or send it to me. I'd love to check it out and just nerd out and stuff. I also have the imposter syndrome of feeling like, how did I get to this position, and I should do more with it. And connecting with you even right now, and Luke talking with you, has helped me feel more connected to my job to do.
Yeah, same with you guys. It's awesome, like, to see y'all. It makes me feel really good about myself just being on y'all's podcast. So thanks, man. Thank you guys.
Great, man. Yeah, love hanging with you boys. I'm excited. I have a lesson in a little bit, and it's nice to just be able to sit and talk about music and talk about life, and then actually play a little bit too, man. So, and I hope that everybody watching and doing the podcast, and you guys have been awesome. The feedback has been really cool, and I hope that everybody is getting a little bit of like FaceTime and positivity, whether it's music or whatever. Shout out to everybody out there in the pod sphere.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us, Tucker. And yeah, as we keep going with this, we'll definitely have to bring you back on for follow-ups and, checking in and
Yes.
So,
and more hats next time, Tuck. It doesn't have to be 5 or 6. Bring 11 hats. We can change them every 2 minutes if we want.
You can use a slightly soft tortilla as a hat, for example. Yeah. So get creative.
That is true. Yeah.
Placid Tortillas is the name of our side project, I believe.
All right, guys. I'm gonna see you out with a little prop action.
Yeah. That's honestly so much more effective than even like the Zoom backgrounds, man. That just feels so authentic to me.
That's a Zoom foreground if I've ever seen one.
That is a Zoom foreground. Yeah, you're right.
Look, this guy has been Zoom. This is the first time he's used Zoom. He's already more of an expert with it. Okay, that's enough. All right. I'm going to put you in the waiting room, Tucker. It's been great. Luke, stay on, and we will talk behind his back after these messages.
We're going to judge the interview. We love you, Tuck. Thanks, buddy.
And love you guys.
Love you too, man.
See ya.
See ya, bud.
Cool.
All right. Tuck, you knew Tuck was going to bring a good hat, but, like, I mean, he brought the best out of our hat games. I haven't worn this twiddle suede 5-panel maybe since I got it.
5 panels are shout out to 5 panels.
Shout out Kron and the Jamflow team. This hat is it's not all like typical of my style. It's just not a black backwards hat. But I go to Walgreens in this John sometimes.
And you probably say hello to dogs wearing that hat.
This is a great.
It's a dog tipping hat. I would.
Fantastic dog. You just give them a little tip of the suede brim. Is just a little bit. It feels a little bit more real for them. I think.
Give them a little tip of the penis, and you get a little slut wipe, and you're good to go.
There you go. Now take it back to basics.
Yeah, that was a good move to go to the group and ask about questions. I thought, Luke, that was smart of you.
Well, thank you. I just kind of was posting in there to see if there was, you know what I mean, what the response was going to be, and we haven't announced that Tucker was going to be on it. I thought the fans would be into it, but they hit us with some questions, and I figured I'd ask them all. Cheese farms, magnets, slut wipes. I mean, they really ran the gambit. So
yeah, it went all over the place, and you had a job to do, and you did it splendiferously, I believe is the term I would use.
Thank you, my friend. Well, yeah, it's been another great week of Back to Basics, man. You and Chris have been crushing it on the website. Anybody can check it out at back2basics.com. We have a new Instagram page, too, at Back2Basics.
Yes, that's the one. Good. I'm glad we got that one. I locked it in.
It's up. We got it.
If anyone has ideas for what type of merch they would like we could sell modulus bass guitars with our logo on it or whatever. Anything really that makes sense. We're open to ideas, but we want to start getting that out there. And it's not that we want to keep our podcast sponsor free so you could get straight to the stuff. It's that we don't have any way to get sponsors right now. So in order to fund this venture, we're going to look at merchandise and to afford that magical man Chris and help bring him onto the team. We're gonna work on some cool things.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, shout out CB. And just anybody out there, if you exist in that world of the crossover between Fish and ICP,
huge Venn diagram. It's pretty much almost one circle.
Right. It's kind of a big circle. So we know you're out there, and maybe your voice hasn't been heard until today. Please reach out to us. Yep. Luke at back2basics.com, Ben at back2basics.com are our emails, and we want to hear from the juggalos and the fans alike, and maybe we'll even get you a spot on the pod.
Yep. We can have a juggalo end sesh.
Yeah, juggalo and sesh, man. And and we'll start to mash up some more of these concepts, and maybe Tucker will be bringing you an ICP Fish album called Back to Basics soon. You heard it here, and it's official and it's confirmed.
Fire.
I can't really get the same tone out of this thing.
You know what? Give it a few more rips and a dandy doodle dory. Oh, it worked. All right, now get out there and play some dyads.
All right, let's get to some dyads.
All right,
later, buddy.
Yep, I'll talk to you whenever.
I'll talk to you whenever as well.
All right, peace.
Thanks, bud.
Bye, guys.